like a roll call of shame, folks, doesn't it? That's what it is, a roll call of shame. Too chicken to front the public inquiry into our COVID response. The four big ministers that drove the COVID response. Jacinda Ardern, Prime Minister, locked us down too long. Grant Robertson, Finance Minister, and Treasury's already said he spent far too much. Chris Hipkins said we were front of the queue for the vaccine. Truth is, it hadn't arrived. We were nowhere near the front. We were at the bottom. And Ashaya Verrill, Health Minister. The four former ministers who were to appear at the COVID inquiry next week. But they're now all going to be a no-show. Hence, the public inquiry has been cancelled due to their demand that they appear in private. Hipkins, for his part, says he's played ball all along, just in private.
I provided written evidence to the inquiry. I answered every question that they had. I attended the interview that they scheduled for me. They had asked for 2 hours. They ran out of questions after an hour. They've indicated they have no further questions for me at that point.
Yeah, they cut and run, didn't they? They don't want to be held responsible in a public setting. They don't want to be seen in public talking about it. Happy to take the salary and the job and the perks of power and office at the time, and happy to lock us down and keep us locked down far too long. Happy to see people lose their jobs because they didn't take the vaccine. But it came time for them to be accountable. These publicly elected representatives who were paid by us, and a couple of them continue to be paid by us, they pushed the escape button and all apparently independently, came to this decision, on their own, of course, to not front publicly. They've conjured this up. It looks wussy. It looks like you're scared. But if the question is about promoting her book, then of course Jacinda fronts for a nice fireside chat with her sympathetic friends at Radio New Zealand. Happy to front to promote her book. Refusing to front to justify her decisions, which affected all New Zealanders. I don't respect that. I think it's spineless and gutless, and it's about carefully managing and manipulating her image to suit herself. Jacinda first, everyone else second. The right thing to do would be to front so the public feels like there's a form of accountability there, you see. From all four of them, they say they didn't jack this up. I don't believe them. Do you believe them? Of course they discussed this approach to stay under the radar. What, you think they all made independent decisions not to front? Don't take us as that stupid, Mr. Hipkins. You want us to believe you? Of course you spoke to Jacinda. Well, you sorted it out somehow. Stop treating us like nincompoops. And I think your absence from this COVID public inquiry, which now gets collapsed, tells us everything we need to know. How did you sneak out of it? You paid for a legal opinion to get you off. God, really? Oh, it looks like official advice, but you asked for and paid for a legal opinion that you ordered. It looks quite frank. I mean, and you told the lawyers what you wanted them to write and find. It looks gutless. It's staged. It's a setup. It looks quite frankly gutless after years in which our lives were turned upside down. You're happy to lock us down like you did, and you locked us down for weeks and weeks, especially in Auckland. And you're on the big stage every day, lockdown after lockdown. There we were in our houses. As the world opened up, we stayed locked away. And why? Already we've heard from the first stage of the inquiry, which was critical. It was really critical. It said health was just one factor, and they didn't take into account the wider well-being or job security and finances and the human connections that we were lacking. It's more than just about your health. And on the money front, we spent far too much, for which we now pay the price, of course. Politics can be pretty complex for people, and they pretty much tune out, and they're just not interested. But they will understand this one. When the people who ran the country during COVID were invited to front publicly to discuss their actions, they all apparently just ran off on their own accord and said no thanks. They didn't collude. They just made up their own minds, and they were all the same decisions. They said no thanks. I consider Hipkins, who says he didn't jack this up, but Jacinda, I think he's telling us porkies. And I think overall it's a spineless, wussy decision not to front. If you think you did so well, then front to tell us your great story. You say you've got a good story to tell it. That you won't suggests you now understand that big mistakes were made. But we'll never know, because when the time came to be accountable in front of the New Zealand public, you wouldn't front up in person. You all chose to run like chickens into the hen house. And behind closed doors, voters are most unlikely to forget something as simple as that. They will understand what it means to run and hide, and that's what you've done. Sometimes the best scandals are really simple, not complex, and the public gets it.
Editor-in-Chief with Duncan Garner.